I am Nic Rohloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. Welcome in, and we are having an interesting discussion on today's show. You saw the title. Could the Miami Dolphins reunite with a former wide receiver, as there has been a little bit of a discussion about it? That wide receiver is actually no one other than Robbie Chosen. Well, he did a NFL camp. Well, listen, an NFL camp, a youth camp, and David Furones, who covers the Dolphins, went and spoke to Robbie Chosen. And apparently, he has had a discussion with the Miami Dolphins about a potential reunion. Robbie, on his future, says that he has teams interested in him and that he is interested in them as well. He's just staying patient and preparing. He's in the best shape of his life because, of course, he is. Why wouldn't he be in the best shape of his life? They always are, right? He's just preparing to have the best season of his life, fully confident, staying patient, and staying ready. And then David further asked about if he could see himself back to the Dolphins. And Robbie said, we keep communication. We have a good relationship. I know how they feel about me. They know what I'm capable of. And we're still going to communicate. And this is a quote that when I saw it pop up, I was like, well, this caught me by surprise. And if the Dolphins signed Robbie Chosen back to this roster, I would be absolutely stunned if they did that. I just feel like we have so many wide receivers currently on the offseason roster and are going to have such a nice, solid competition in training camp in the preseason on who could fill out the back end of this wide receiver depth chart on the real 53-man roster, to where I would just be shocked if they want to sign a veteran that they've had in their building multiple times and Robbie Chosen, who they already know is what he is capable of. Like, I just don't anticipate him adding a ton to that room, so why not go with a younger guy? But we'll have more of a discussion here on today's show. Make sure you are following us over on Instagram, though. At Dolphins Today IG is our handle. We are 54 followers away from 1,000. When we get there, we're going to do a special Instagram-led video, so help us out. Go follow right now. We'll also post more content around the Dolphins, post short form outside of our YouTube shows. Well, let's get you up to speed on Robbie Chosen if you were unaware of the former Miami Dolphins wide receiver. He has been in the league in the past 9 years. Started in 2016, spent the beginning portion of his career with the Jets, then went over to the Panthers before making his way between the Cardinals and Dolphins. Now, he was on the practice squad in training camp of the 49ers, but never actually played a game. And he then actually, after was released by the 49ers prior to the 2024 season, the Dolphins signed Robbie Chosen to their practice squad. And he actually appeared in the first 2 games of the season when Miami was dealing with a couple of injuries. Chosen in his career has had a pretty solid one, having over 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. Most of those numbers came when he had a good start to his career with the Jets and Carolina Panthers. But he's an athletic, a lengthy guy. If you actually remember in the 2023 season, he caught a 68-yard touchdown pass in that big-time blowout where Miami beat the Broncos 70 to, I'm forgetting what the Broncos scored. But when the Dolphins dropped 70 points, Miami had a touchdown pass to Robbie Chosen. And if I'm going to be honest, I don't think the Dolphins should bring him back. I know that maybe this is a little bit harsh. I just am not feeling him back on this roster. The Dolphins had a top 3 oldest roster in the NFL during the 2024 season, and right now Miami is the 7th youngest. I like that they're starting to lean into more of a youthful team with a couple veterans to complement it. And not saying that Robbie Chosen would be such a massive contributor, but I just think they should continue to lean. And if they're filling out the back end of this wide receiver unit, I would rather go with a younger type of crew. So make the call for me. Be Chris Grier for a split second. Should Miami bring back Robbie Chosen to this Dolphins roster, at least for training camp? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Well, you just heard me say that I would not bring him back. I am leaning against that, and here's a further explanation of why. Miami has a plethora of young wide receivers, some talented UDFAs that Miami signed. They have a couple of young guys like Malik Washington and Taj Washington. I want to see all of these guys get more reps and more chances during training camp and during the preseason. There's just no need to bring in a 32-year-old Robbie Chosen who is either on the tail end, like last year of his career, who is not going to really contribute much. like, you have a solid wide receiver room, in my opinion. I think it's one of the top 5, top 10 in the entire NFL. We know Tyreek and Jaylen as a duo, when we have a fully healthy offense, can be absolutely dominant. Nick Westbrook-Ikini was a really solid addition this offseason with that 2-year deal, and I like what Malik Washington can bring to the table. But you look at some of these depth pieces: Andrew Armstrong, Theo Reese Jr., A.J. Henning, Taj Washington, Tariq Black. Like, I want to give these young guys a chance, and I'm going to continue to echo that sentiment throughout this entire episode of the channel. Is like, I get it. Robbie Chosen is probably, if you had to suit up and win a game with the death beam being poured at the Dolphins organization, yeah, you're probably going to want Robbie Chosen out there over those young guys. But we're not needing to win one game right now. We are looking to build and see if we have any hidden gems on this roster heading into training camp, which is why I'm doing a little bit of a back of if I'm talking Robbie Chosen. More to come here, but shout out to Mando, the whole body deodorant that I trust to make sure I am never sweating and I am always smelling right, because summer is in full swing, and boy, is it continuing to be hot out there, and the heat means more sweat, and more sweat equals more stink potential. You've got to be ready. I'm not messing around with my deodorant, and neither should you. Mando have that awesome sweat control solid stick deodorant. It's double protection, so finally you get the odor control you love with Mando, plus powerful sweat control. They have so many other products that make sure you are always smelling right. Their starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, plus free shipping. And I'll tell you what, in the summer, I have absolutely enjoyed the solid stick deodorant with the sweat control. But you know, if you watch, I will always hype up the deodorant wipes, because I am someone always on the go, whether it is traveling, meeting new people, going on errands. And if I'm sweating in the summer, well, guess what? The deodorant wipes is there for me to get a quick freshen up, but it's also perfect for at work if I feel like I need to freshen up. There's just no downside to carrying the deodorant wipes with me. That's why it's my favorite product that Mando has. And as a special offer for listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code CHAT. Use code CHAT at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide, plus free shipping. shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered. Protect your pits. Smell great doing it. That link for Mando is in the description and comments of today's video. I talked about the young guys that I want to see Miami give more of a chance to. Well, these are the 4 that I am more specifically looking at. Taj Washington, who will dive more in depth here on him in a second. But then 3 UDFA wide receivers Miami added after the draft in April and early May. Andrew Armstrong from Arkansas, Theo Reese Jr. from Missouri, and A.J. Henning from Northwestern. All 3 of those guys provide a real positive outlook on their future if they're going to be able to put together a strong training camp in 3 preseason games. But I want to talk about Taj Washington more in depth real quick, because he was actually selected by the Dolphins in the 7th round of the 2024 NFL Draft, 241st overall. But we just never were able to see anything from him in training camp and in the preseason. He got hurt in July and was placed on injured reserve, specifically on July 23rd, 2024. And if you are placed on IR before the season, you are done for the year. That's what happened to Grayson Murphy. It's what happened to Taj Washington. But we weren't able to see him in any preseason games or training camp like we were able to see a little bit of the edge Grayson Murphy. And the last time we saw Taj on a football field was when he was playing wide receiver alongside Caleb Williams in 2023, where he had 59 receptions for 1,062 yards and 8 touchdowns. He was one of Caleb Williams' top targets. So to me, I do believe that Taj Washington has some upside to him. And as I mentioned, we were robbed of seeing him in those 3 preseason games. He's a smaller wide receiver at 5'9", but he's got a lot of energy, a lot of burst to him. I could see him thriving in this system with his big playability and shiftiness. He has juice. I want to see it. And I'm going to continue to go back to this. Like, if you add a guy like Robbie Chosen, it's only going to take away reps, even if it's just minimal. It's still a missed opportunity for Taj Washington or any of these other younger guys to get more work. So, yes, I want to see what Taj and these other UDFA wide receivers have to him. And if you want more coverage on the Dolphins, this is the channel for you. Sometimes we're dropping 2 videos a day, like today. If you want the best coverage of Dolphins football, join us here at Dolphins Today. But I can't sleep on any of these UDFA wide receivers either. I was very complimentary of them in May after the NFL draft because some of them I thought would have went drafted, aka Andrew Armstrong, who led the SEC in receiving last season with 1,140 yards. But the reason why Armstrong is so fascinating to me is his size. He's 6'4", he ran in sub 4.5. Like, Andrew Armstrong had such a terrific season for the Arkansas Razorbacks. But Theo Weiss Jr. is a player that's very interesting too, who was given a pretty large contract in undrafted free agency. I think it was about $230,000, $250,000. So he was someone Miami prioritized signing. And he was very productive in that Missouri offense as the wide receiver 2 to Luther Burden. You see his numbers, not as good as Andrew Armstrong, but certainly still putting up solid numbers in 2 more games played. But the interesting part about Theo Weiss Jr. is the fact that he was actually someone that has been hyped up by Dolphins beat reporters during mandatory minicamp and OTAs. If you have heard any buzz coming out of the spring and early summer practices, I think Theo Weiss Jr. has been the wide receiver that has received the most hype. Him and AJ Henning, actually. Henning showcased some solid route running and hands throughout traffic. And I know it's crazy, and this is a real sicko thing for me to say, but it's realistically how I feel. I cannot wait to see the wide receiver 5 battle over the next month in training camp in the preseason. Like, it's going to be so fun to me where you see some of these young guys fight and claw for a 53-man roster spot. Some of these other guys won't make it. Will they ultimately be brought back on the practice squad? I don't know. But if you're ranking some of the most exciting things I'm looking for in training camp in the preseason, the wide receiver 5 battle is certainly one of them. Let me know. Drop some names. Which UDFA wide receiver are you most excited to watch on this Dolphins team in training camp in the preseason? Is it Armstrong? Is it Weiss Jr.? Is it AJ Henning? Is it Monterey Baldwin? Which UDFA wide receiver are you hyped for? Although I was hyping up Henning and Theo Weiss Jr., mine is still going to be Andrew Armstrong. Like I mentioned, he's 6'4", ran a sub 4.5 40, and excuse me, it was not sub 4.5, it's 4.52 to be exact. So excuse me on that. But he's got amazing speed for his size, and he was really freaking good at Arkansas last season. So I think he's going to be able to put together some nice highlights for this Dolphins team in the preseason. But to close out the show, quick little outlook on the wide receiver room. If we just follow the tea leaves and trends of what Mike McDaniel has done on roster cutdown day to keep a 53-man roster, Miami usually keeps 5 wide receivers. And we know 4 of them are absolute locks. Tyreek Hill, Jaylen Waddle, Malik Washington, and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. It would take one of those players being injured on a very severe rate for them to be placed on IR and the Dolphins to not have those 4 on the active roster for week 1 against the Indianapolis Colts. But if I'll be real here, I think the wide receiver 5 is ultimately going to be a veteran. I am projecting it to be D. Eskridge, the wide receiver who spent all year last year on the practice squad, got some playing time as well in the regular season while players missed time like Waddle and others. So, I think him having that special teams value, the veteran, the knowledge of the offense that Mike McDaniel has gives him the edge. But we'll see if any of these young wide receivers like Taj Washington or the UDFAs push him for a roster spot. And when training camp gets officially underway, we'll have more updates over on my social media, as well as clips from practice. You'll find that on my Twitter at Nic_Rohloff, so go give me a follow. You'll also find some more clips on my Instagram at Dolphins Today IG. So make sure you follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, and subscribe to the channel. Go Fins.